This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Well, let's just say Lloyd's not playing this for me. Let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend himself. It is Christian Cox right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian, how the heck are you?
You know, Scotty, I'm doing pretty well. He is playing it for you. You a good-looking man?
No.
You shed a few pounds, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're down a bit. Yeah. And now I got to build it back up, though. There's no muscle there at all, so I got to find a way to get back at it. So I need your help there.
Well, I can help you. The gym is not fun.
No, it's not. That's the bottom line of this whole thing. That's never an enjoyable experience. How you doing, by the way? Everything good in your world?
You know, everything's great. We just had our 7th baby last fall. I work at a company called Filevine, so you'll probably see them on the Mammoths helmet and, at Jazz games. So in the tech world, very busy, and, life couldn't be better. 7 kids at home and lots of kids at work I got to manage.
Which one give you the biggest headaches?
I don't know. Maybe the kids at work. I would say that. And if my employees are listening, I'm sure they'll think that's true and laugh. But my kids at home, they're pretty good. Camille runs a tight ship.
So yeah, no doubt. And the flag football coach, he doesn't mess around either, for sure, with those kids.
That's right. He's back out there in April.
Nice.
So.
Hey, so you're watching that game yesterday, and I wanted to get a guy that has played at that level and get your expertise on this. It seemed to me like you had 2 head coaches that said, okay, these defenses are dominating. We're going to play the field position game, and we just don't want to make big mistakes. And at the end of the day, one offense made the big mistake, and the other played field position, kicked field goals, and gave themselves the best chance to win.
Yeah, it was old school, right?
Yeah.
Throw the analytics out. It's one game left, and people weren't going for it on 4th down, and it was very clear. Seattle's defense was just ferocious. I don't know what the sack totals ended at, whether it was 7 or 8, but they were in the backfield all day, and they just looked more dominant. And New England's offense wasn't very strong. They really couldn't establish a ground game much at all. I think they had the lowest point totals and the lowest yards going into halftime or something like that, or going to the 3rd quarter. But I think Seattle was a surprise for everyone on the year. I think they outplayed New England in the Super Bowl, and my kids were confused because I said, I'm rooting for a player, not a team. And they're like, well, you're disloyal if you don't root for the Patriots. And I said, I really like Sam Darnold's story. I'm like, how do you not? And, the way the game ended, New England had a little bit of a 1% flicker, and then Drake May threw that big interception that just basically ended the game. And my son was actually deeply disappointed. I was surprised on how much he was into it. And tough game, but, Mike Vrabel's got plenty of time to get them back in it. And Coach McDonald, man, silent assassin. And I love the Sam Darnold story. I don't know how you don't if you're an American, someone who's overlooked and been relegated at every turn and has made it happen in year 8.
Well, it goes to show how much being in the right place at the right time. Look, if an old teammate of yours named Tom Brady, people may have heard of him, if he doesn't go to New England, if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, there had to be a lot of things go right for him to then showcase his ability and be able to play at a high level. But I'm sure there's been a lot of great players at a lot of different positions who ended up going to the wrong place at the wrong time, and we never heard from them again, that could have had great careers had they gone to the right place. And Sam Darnold goes to the right place finally and ends up having a great Super Bowl season. And I think obviously location matters, but coaching staff really, really matters.
Oh, you hammer on a point that I absolutely love. Like, coaches are the difference. And I think what's so complicated for young quarterbacks going into the NFL is they don't really set them up for success. They don't get time to wait behind a really good quarterback. Like, Tom Brady got to watch behind Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe wasn't a wash-up. He wasn't some bad quarterback. Aaron Rodgers got to sit behind Brett Favre. And what's happened to these, number 1 or number 2 or number 3, first-round draft picks, they're hoisted and thrown into a wolf's den, and usually with really, really bad teams, with bad coaches who will get fired in 2 to 3 years. And it's just a really strange process to watch. Steve Young obviously had his challenges in the USFL and then found his way to back up Joe Montana, then got his turn. And I just don't know why the NFL does that to these young quarterbacks. And now you're on the next turn. Tua's out, likely. And then Kyler Murray, he's out as well in Arizona. And so it's like just a quarterback carousel. And I think, for Sam Darnold, um, I think most people would quit or phone it in.
Yeah.
And especially what Minnesota did to him, I love the story of the underdog and just brutally happy for him. And hopefully he gets paid. And Tom Brady, I think what's so cool about him is he had Drew Bledsoe, but he took his opportunity. He didn't Wally Pippett, as John Pease would call it. He took his opportunity and ran with it.
And a guy even like Cooper Kupp, who's already got rings, but you've got a team that he played for a long time in the Rams that kind of kicked him to the curb and said, we don't think you have it anymore. And he's not the player he once was, but still made critical plays down the stretch and helped his team win a Super Bowl. And I thought, there's a lot of those great storylines out there, like, Eric Weddle a couple of years ago when the Rams signed him before the playoffs and he ends up winning a Super Bowl. I mean, those are moments where guys can also elevate who they are in their career already based on a tremendous career they've had. I mean, Cooper Kupp, I think, should be, I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he definitely should be in the Hall before it's all said and done.
Well, when you look at a guy who's won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's Seattle's second Super Bowl. And, with the Rams, what they had done, after having lost to the Patriots originally, and then they went and obviously got a new quarterback and traded away Goff. The Cooper Kupp story is phenomenal. And obviously with Smith and Jigba getting hurt yesterday, he was kind of limping around. They said it was concussion, but he wasn't making the impact he usually does. But Cooper Kupp is as sure-handed as it gets. I would argue he actually did catch the ball that hit the ground, they claimed.
I know. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
It was a catch, but it doesn't really matter at this point. But I don't know. What a stud, though. I think both of those guys overlooked. Cooper Kupp was a 0-star. Sam Darnold was the USC kid who killed Penn State in the Rose Bowl and just drifted his way through the NFL and got, dealt bad cards. And now he's a Super Bowl champion. And now hopefully they pay him because he deserves the 100 million, 70 guaranteed or whatever the numbers are. And I don't know. I'm surprised. I grew up as a 49er fan as a kid. Obviously played for the Patriots. So to see Seattle have success the way they have, 2 different rebuilds, it's kind of painful to admit, but like tip the cap to them. They've done it the right way and did it with the right coach.
Christian Cox joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, so I wanted to talk NFL with you, but I also wanted to talk University of Utah. You know Morgan very well. How do you feel like this transition is going to go for the University of Utah?
Yeah, I've said this before. I think, when you take on, capital funding, private equity is the vehicle, you have $500 million to use to play, right? But that money does have its asks to be returned and to get its profits at full tilt. And so I'm more fascinated. Yes, you got the capital financing to work with, which Utah has struggled with, but you've got to win, right? You got to win now. I think Morgan won in the portal in terms of maintaining guys. You're not going to keep the Michigan transfers, the J.J. Buchanans, the John Henry Dailies. But overall, I thought it was a big win, in maintaining, as much of the staff as you could-ish, the ones that were loyal. Obviously, Lou Powell leaving to Michigan's a big loss, but you keep Luther and obviously Sharif and Coach Swan and getting promoted to DC. Staff continuity is a big deal. Coaches are the difference. I look back on the staff in 2008 when we won the Sugar Bowl. Like we had Gary Anderson as the DC. Kalani was the linebacker coach. Morgan moved to, the strong safety coach. Jay Hill was our special teams coordinator. And all those guys, 17 years later are DCs or head coaches and have good staff continuity. And so I know Morgan intimately. Morgan was my first coach post-mission in 2007. He was my grad assistant coach before he was promoted to strong safety coach. Morgan has the fervor. Morgan has the guts. Can Morgan build the type of staff that Kyle took him years to build? That's going to be the question. I think he's got the pieces. but time's going to tell. But no one's going to question Morgan's work ethic.
No.
And I'm more interested on other coaches he's going to bring in, not just the current staff, but like over the next 2 and 3 years, who else is going to come join him? I would love to get into coaching at some point. I'm not doing that next year or in 2 years or 3 years, but I'd love to do that. I've been doing software for a long time, but coaching is what I wanted to do. And I had 2 really good coaches who, said, hey, you probably don't want to do this if you want to stay in the same city and manage your family. And these are trusted people.
Yeah.
So one's an OC and a coach, and one's passed away. So you can do the math and figure that one out. But I think Morgan's going to do great. I don't know a better, more convicted person, but it's going to be, how is he going to get the right staff and personnel in place, which he has? And then it's recruiting. How do you recruit the right type of profile and people, and then use the incentives of money, like it's not going away, of how do you attract and keep the right guys and then pay them? Because it's not like when I played. It's not student athlete, it's athlete and pay.
Yes.
And then go to class. So it's going to be very fascinating. Time will tell, but it is going to be different. And fans got to get ready for that. It's a new regime. Lavelle Edwards eventually left, BYU at some point. Kyle's at a different college. Kyle's coaching at Michigan. Happy for him. But it's Morgan's turn. And I'm really excited to see how Morgan puts his stamp on things in his own way while keeping the same culture and tradition of being a Utah man. And he'll do that. No, not a better person set up for success than him.
I love the Colton Swan promotion too, because I think that's a guy that has been one of the keys, the unheralded keys of what Morgan's built there defensively and why they've been good for so long. And there's been a lot of good linebackers that have come through there, and a lot of them have had great careers on the next level because of Colton Swan. And I think that was a no-brainer hire. I may have given it to Lou just to try to keep Lou in town, but other than that, I think that was the smart move to make.
Yeah, and I think Colton is, Coach Swan he's not gotten a lot of pub. I'd say the 2 pillars between Sharif and Coach Swan, those are his, right and left hand people. And then Luther is a big deal, right? You have Luther up there and Coach Ellis. He's such a phenomenal person. Just like business, and athletics, it's a people game, right? You are entrusting your kid's life with these coaches. And obviously there's a money component now, and that's kind of strange with contracts, but you're there to help them in their life and to get them into the next level or change their trajectory by how you manage and work with them. And I'm grateful that I had such amazing coaches in high school, and, Larry Wall, and obviously amazing coaches at Utah. And then I got to see amazing coaches in New England. And so players clearly go where the coaches are. And I would love to play for a staff that Morgan is running and Coach Swan is there and Luther and Sharif. I would entrust my kids to go play for those men. And that's what you want, especially as you're going through the process. If it's all about dollars and cents and money, like Utah isn't the organization for you.
Yeah.
Utah is about legacy, and can they make you a 3-star pick and get you, first, second, or third round draft pick into the NFL. I haven't been up there. I haven't talked numbers. So maybe that is different, but that's always been the identity. I don't think the money really changes anything other than they can compete with the big boys if they need to for the right players. And that's how I would run a business, honestly.
Christian Cox joining us. All right, so I'm curious to know, at the house for the Super Bowl, is it all just gluten-free, sugar-free food? Like what's in the spread for the Christian Cox family?
One would say no, definitely not gluten-free. It's it's pizza, it's wings, it's the Super Bowl, right?
All right, just want to make sure.
No, we're not having just, I don't know, salmon and eggs and all those things. It was pizza, wings, and my kids love it. And for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'll eat the American unhealthy diet.
All right.
You know what I mean?
You're fancy. Christian's fancy.
Yeah, just once in a while. Other than that, you want a dessert? Here's a protein bar.
Sure.
That's what you get. Hey, you're the best, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us, and look forward to it. Let's do this again here soon, all right?
Anytime you need it, Scotty. Happy to join.
I love it. Christian Cox, one of the best human beings on the planet, kind enough to join us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ute legend, Christian Cox.